Dear viewers, we are back and we have been joined by our second and final guest for this evening, Dr. Tahseen Khan, the artist. Good evening, Doctor. Welcome back to Hala Kuwait.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for being here. So, Doctor, we usually have you with us to talk about medical topics, right?
Yeah.
But this time is a bit different. We're going to be talking about you and your art. So, in the beginning, can you tell us about your journey as an artist and how did it all begin?
Actually, art or creativity runs in my family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can say it is in my DNA.
Wow.
Since childhood, I have always been captivated by being creative, whether it be painting or craft or you know, even acting. So anything creative, I was captivated by it. You know.
Amazing.
So, and I was supported with my parents, and you know, at those times when I was small. Mm-hmm. Art was not very given when I was young.
Yes.
It was not a very important, interesting thing for
Mm-hmm.
having a career.
That's right.
So that is the, you know, I just made myself into an artist. Yeah.
And I think back then our parents would start pushing us towards,
Yeah.
you know, being a doctor, an architect, or
Yeah.
anything else
Yes.
rather than being an
wanted
artist.
to have a career, you know. So
Exactly.
mainly depending upon the career. Yes.
Exactly. Things are very different these days.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So were there any particular artists or even art movements that influenced your style as an artist?
During my childhood days, you know, like I was only influenced by my family, like my mother and my uncles. They were all wonderful painters.
Wow.
I was influenced by them. And, you know, actually I come from Chennai, Madras. At that time there was an art movement in those 1960s, where, you know, some artists, they wanted to give some identity to the artists. But for me, as a childhood, I was just taking from inspiration from the landscapes, from the, you know, from the nature. These are things which influenced me. I used to look at them and develop my skills.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I know every artist has different tools or techniques or even materials that they prefer to use in their work. Do you prefer something specific? And if yes, what are they?
Actually, you know, I am really enamored of acrylic. It's a very versatile and vibrant kind of a medium, and
Yes.
also very forgiving, because you know, very quickly we can cover it up and and keep on doing it again, and really flows. Your creativity flows with acrylic. But I started with the water paints first.
Oh wow.
And then slowly I went on to doing with the oil painting. And boy, oil painting is a wonderful medium, you know, you feel happy when painting with it. It's as if your heart is speaking to your hand. But the only problem with oil is it takes time to dry.
That's right.
So you need to have patience for it, and you know, it takes to dry. I mean, but you break your resolve. So I went off to acrylic.
That was your perfect match.
But I paint on everything. I paint on glass, I paint on pottery, I even paint on stones. And the most important thing is, you know, I love doing recycling. Any objects which are broken or discarded, I like to recreate them and then paint over them, and as if I'm giving them a divine life again.
And I think that's such a beautiful thing to do, because you end up having such a unique piece. No one else has it, you know what I mean? Very
and
customized.
giving another life to them, you know.
Definitely, you're not throwing it away, and I think it just looks beautiful. So where do you usually draw inspiration from? Do you look for inspiration in nature, emotions, or even like in current events?
Yeah, all of them, as you said, you know, like I know, for example, nature. When I see a beautiful sunrise and the beauty of the sun rays falling on the world and creating beautiful, vibrant colors, and also the magical shadows, that really I'm enamored of them. It gives me so much happiness and satisfaction. But on the flip side, when I see poverty, when I see, you know, suffering, and also, you know, abuse of power, I get so frustrated. And I want to make I feel so helpless that I cannot do anything. So I start putting my emotions and my feelings onto canvases.
That's
and
beautiful.
then, and I hope that people can see that, and it can spark conversations about it and inspire people to make change.
I think that's the beautiful thing about art, that it can do that and it can change a lot of things. So I know with anything we do, we can face challenges. Have you faced any challenges as an artist? And if yes, how have you overcome them?
Yeah, I do feel, so for example, self-doubt. Suddenly I feel like, okay, I want to convey something, but is my talent enough? Am I able to do it? You know, I have self-doubt. In those situations, I look up to people who can give me a positive feedback on critical, you know, like healthy criticism. And I embrace the healthy criticism and change myself, and that is one of the problems I have. The other thing is, like, you know, I have suddenly I have a roller coaster of, suddenly I feel very inspired, suddenly my inspiration becomes low. So I keep staring at the canvas, what to do.
Exactly.
In those days, what I do, I just take the painting and I turn it around. I close it for some time, then allow the thing to go, so that later on I can come back to it. I go to some other medium, you know, like.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then I come back to my original painting after some time.
Because I think when we force ourselves and sit ourselves in front of something, trying to finish it or get inspiration, that's when the block just doesn't go away. So I think
you just have to close it for some time and
let it be, you know, and then go back to it when you have found your inspiration. So what messages do you usually aim to convey through your paintings or your work?
You know, I want people to not only admire my paintings, but I want them to go through see the process by which it was going, you know, like what made me paint that and what am I trying to convey, what are my frustrations, so that I want them to see through the process, you know. That is what I want to convey to people.
Definitely. Yes. And I think that's the amazing thing that artists can do, that they can get their message across always. So finally, how do you hope your audiences or your audience reacts or connects with your work?
I want them to see my paintings and get inspired by it, you know. And also I want to give a message to the parents, like how I did, so that they can build the potential of the children, find out the potential of the children and encourage them. Yes. Encourage them, and don't only think of a career.
Definitely.
They have to be the best in what they do, you know, so that they can be inspired and they inspire others.
Yes, for sure. And I just want to go back a bit to the political issues or maybe the social issues. How do you think art has a role in addressing these things? You mentioned it briefly during our interview.
Yes, absolutely. Art has, you know, art has a wonderful medium to bring about change. Because, you know, certain things, complex emotions, words don't do justice for that. So by painting, we're able to express those emotions, you know, without using words.
That's right.
And also it transcends language, it transcends cultures, you know, so we are able to convey what we want with art.
Get the message across.
A very powerful medium.
Definitely. As you mentioned, even if people don't understand the same language you speak, through your art you can get the message across. Well, Dr. Tahseen, thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm so glad I was able to share my journey with your audience.
Thank you. My pleasure, of course. Dear viewers, we had with us Dr. Tahseen Khan, the artist, and up next we have a break and we'll be right back.